So it's been decades of the annual beauty contest that gives young, beautiful and intelligent young women the exposure that helps build a flourishing career. Many even had the opportunity to represent Ghana on the global stage at the Miss Ghana or Miss World event. It indeed worked. But today, several of the former beauty queens have come out raising the alarm about how they were abused in many different ways. Let's listen to one of them.
The thing is, the moment you come out and you want to work with somebody, they start behaving like you are controversial, you are difficult. They rather prefer to be with the other person because the person is already successful and you, the upcoming, they don't want to deal with you. That's the issue right now. It's not just about, you could come and say, but no one would want to work with you.
Yeah, but so you would want to sacrifice other women, young women, especially vulnerable ones, to a scheme that is so, terrible, and perhaps that would exploit them. Just so, do you understand the conundrum you find yourself in?
I do get it.
And
get it.
It's difficult. Stephanie spoke a law, Delali spoke a law, and I'm speaking to Dan. So it does seem like the head of the organization is a problem, and it's quite difficult to actually, effect change if people are not ready to make sacrifices.
I know.
So, I just want to make this brief, but at least recount some of, the experiences you had that you think shouldn't have been in the case. For instance, not before we talked about, the statement where they said I had stripped off the title and all this kind of stuff. What were the leading, problems or the leading issues that you had with INA or the organization itself?
Okay, the first thing is that it's a family business. And mom, her sisters, everyone is a director of the company.
Okay.
So when I won, I didn't get my car immediately. It was like after some time that I got my car. So she had like a small item.
Is it a car I saw you driving? Is it still the same car?
No, I don't have any Miss Ghana car with me. No.
Oh, they took their car back?
They took the car, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Because I thought that was the car when I saw you the other time you were driving. But anyway.
No. So the first one up was the one driving one of the items because it was manual and I couldn't drive manual.
Okay.
So she was the one driving, but she was using her money to buy fuel. So we complained several times that she has to give us fuel money. And she said no, she can't give us fuel money.
Fuel money for if you are driving and going around looking for boys, why should INA pay?
For sponsorship.
Okay, for sponsors.
Yeah, for sponsorship. So we're supposed to drive around and then go from one company to the other for sponsorship. But we asked for fuel allowance and she said no, she cannot give us fuel allowance. We should find our own way of getting fuel. So I think after 1 month, the first runner-up, she said she won't do it again. She's tired. So it was left with me and the second runner-up. Then she's like, so my car came and she gave me the car, but it was in her name and everything. And she said the car, it wasn't given to her by any sponsor. She bought it with her own money. So that means I have to now work for it before I can get it as mine.
Yeah, but then within your price package list, was the car not part of the prices?
It was part of it.
So why I've already worked for it by winning the pageant, wasn't it? So
yes. So I told her that, but that's what you didn't tell the world that. You told the world I'm getting a car. So how you got it, I don't care. She was like, well, if I don't care, then I have to care because she won't. I don't know what I did for her to get a car, and she can't give it to me just like that. So it became an argument, and my chaperone at that moment was like, at that time was like, I shouldn't say anything again. I'm like, but I don't care what you did to get the car because you want to please the public that you bought the car. You've given me a car as my price. So how you did it is none of my business. So that's where everything started happening. She wasn't giving me allowance. She was asking me to raise 10,000 Ghana cedis every month. And we moved into the Miss Ghana house, which was at Spintex, Manetville.
Okay.
I moved in with the first runner-up and
So you just had Nana Ekuya-Befi, she's Miss Ghana 2013. Of course, these allegations have shocked many. There are a number of comments on this. We'll get to hear some of your thoughts and comments that you've sent us via social media. We'll get to hear them. Most people are not happy about this, but we are yet to hear from the organizers. We're still making frantic effort to reach Inner Party, the organizers of Miss Ghana, and then we'll get some reactions from them. But is there time, is it more like a time for reforms? How will these former queens prove cases of abuse should the matter end up in court? We are privileged to have been joined in the studios by lawyer Francis Xavier Susu. He's a renowned human rights campaigner. Welcome. It's been such a while. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's really wonderful being around.
I hope you're doing well.
By God's grace, you're doing well.
Well, so I'm sure you've been monitoring. You've heard about this Miss Ghana, former beauty queens, and the allegations against the organizers of the beauty pageant. First, is this new?
First of all, I think the allegation is new. However, I don't think that what the beauty queen was talking about is entirely new.
Okay.
I only think that as the society become more educated, more empowered, people come out to really speak about these abuses. And I think that we need to commend the beauty queens for coming out to boldly speak against these abuses. And perhaps they don't need to just speak about them, but I believe that they should be able to demand for some ransom, you know, for the violations. And I don't think that this is exclusive to Ghana. Recently, I mean, in the US, we had allegations of artists or, you know, in Hollywood making allegations, you know, against producers and so on and so forth. So I believe that, I mean, more and more people are becoming more empowered in our society, and that is the reason why we have someone like the beauty queen coming out, you know, so strongly to talk about something that she would otherwise not have talked about. And I believe that the reasons why she's talking about this now is not only about her, but she's actually thinking about the society. She's thinking about the possibility of other innocent, you know, up and coming is it
those who are aspiring to be beauty queens as well?
Beauty queens as well, you know, actually becoming victims of similar situations, and I think that is why she's talking about them.
But it looks like she's not alone. We have 1, 2, 3 of them so far speaking about this issue. Well, so what rights exactly do you think have been abused?
Well, you know, in the first place, we must understand that these beauty queens, you know, have a right to work in a very safe environment. You know, if you're in an environment where you are being abused, clearly it is part of your economic rights that have been abused. You know, quite apart from that, whatever advances or perhaps sexual violations that were perpetrated against them forms a basis for an action, you know, for some form of compensation for the sexual violations. You know, at this time, maybe it will be very difficult to have pieces of evidence to prove things like indecent assault and so on and so forth, which are more criminal. But even though you may not be able to prove those crimes, if there are people, other witnesses to some of these allegations, I believe that they can go to a civil court or a human rights high court for a declaration to that effect, and also seek for some compensation, at least against the company that they were working with.
So it looks like this is possible, possibly can end up in court.
Absolutely, this can end up in court, and I would even encourage them not to just end this with just the advocacy or speaking against, you know, the situation. They should be able to test the law in this regard. In the first place, when you are working under those conditions, usually you work for an agency. And that agency is responsible for your safety. They are responsible for your well-being, so long as you remain in their custody or you remain in their care. Now, if the agency looks on and you are abused, you are sexually abused, or in some way facilitated that because of the kind of arrangements they put in place, I believe you can sue the agency. Don't forget that it is the obligation of organizations, companies, agencies to put in place what we call the anti-sexual harassment laws, or at least either laws or yeah, well, let me just put it, anti-sexual harassment laws, to ensure that female workers are protected. And I believe that if we are to go around now, perhaps many people, and I'm challenging all the organizations out there, including Joy Multimedia, I believe that we should be able to have sexual harassment laws.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you
so
on
that
that.
anytime a lady feels, see, it will make the ladies feel safer around. But as it is now, they walk about, somebody just taps her in a very sexually provocative way. She's unable to say anything. And sometimes even some men even would use sex as a bargaining chip to give jobs, to give promotions, and so on and so forth. And I think this is completely unacceptable, and we should be able to do something about this.
But see, Francis, some might consider this, what I'm about to say, a bit silly, but you enter into a beauty pageant. You go on stage, sometimes half naked, and all that, and you now come back accusing your agencies of asking you to be sweet and nice to someone. Really?
Well,
where did they go wrong?
But the point is that, the fact that a lady has, is naked, does not necessarily mean that she's inviting you to violate her.
Really?
Yes. Okay. I think that we should be, we have a cultural thing where we take ladies no for yes and yes for no.
You say anytime you say yes, it means no.
And culturally, how this thing developed. If you went to, propose to a lady and she said no, and you decide to just back off, she's most likely to say that, oh, no kakra ni can't eat, that kind of thing.
You are not pushing enough.
You are not pushing enough. You must show that you are a man and that kind of thing. There are many people who have, culturally adopted this to mean that anytime a lady is saying no, she probably is saying yes. And I think it's part of the reasons why we have all these rape issues, defilement issues, and so on and so forth. Not until we begin to have a new awareness about these matters and know that when a lady says no, it means no. If she says yes, it means yes. Even if the lady is naked before you, it is not enough reason for you, or it's not a consent for you to want to do anything with that lady or sexually violate that lady. Okay.
But see, some of the allegations that were made by these beauty queens, for instance, they only stated that Ina told them that in some meetings that they had in some ungodly hours, like they're saying, they were only told to be sweet, to be nice, and to be acceptable. What is wrong with your boss telling you you're going for a business meeting and they tell you be sweet, be nice and acceptable? Because you didn't ask the boss, what do you mean I should be sweet? What do you mean I should be nice and to be acceptable? What does it mean?
Well, I honestly believe that there is obviously more to being sweet, nice, and...
What's more to it?
Well,
the word sweet, nice and acceptable, what does it mean?
Sweet, nice and acceptable, when you take it on a face value, it simply means that be nice to the people who are coming, even though it's an ungodly hour. But depending on the circumstance or the environment, the peculiar situation of each case, sweet, nice, and acceptable could also mean that accept any sexual advances made, to you.
But that's unfair. I'm not sure she ever said to them, at least they didn't tell us that she said to them that be sweet and nice and acceptable when there's a sexual advance.
Well, I believe that all those out there, the ladies who are out there, they would even make a better meaning of being sweet, nice, and acceptable, particularly in ungodly hours. And we talk about ungodly hours,
because maybe you are deprived of your sleep, so you might be tired, you didn't want to have that meeting.
Well,
so they're just telling you to be acceptable,
ungodly
nice
hours
and sweet.
could just mean, meeting some possible partner in a hotel. That's what I'm saying, that there probably may be more to this than we all know. And not until we have the full fact, we cannot be emphatic as to what really happened or what did not happen. But at least we know that the potentials or the possible violation, sexual violation of these beauty queens, is there. And indeed, why would she be talking if nothing happened? If all she did, whether she went there, just smiled and then signed a contract, I don't think she would be talking about.
She was told that she was asked whether they thought she was actually coming to sleep over. One of them, at least one account, when after she was told to be sweet and nice She said she was leaving, and she was asked, the man asked her, I thought you were sleeping over.
So it tells you that so being sweet, nice, and acceptable actually meant more than simply going and smiling, you know.
But you see, we've had cases where some people have even caught their husbands in the act, and they were told that, oh no, it might not be it. You didn't see a penetration or anything, for instance, so you can't say that they were in the act.
I mean,
if somebody asked you, I thought you were sleeping over, maybe they thought that, okay, it's late, you don't have to be driving at night, so they want you to spend the night in their houses. Does it mean the person wants to sleep with you?
No, you see, the point is that we cannot belittle the fact that in this kind of society we find ourselves in, men will use all kinds of, very ingenious ways of getting women, to bed if they want to. And I believe that, let's not belittle the fact.
Exactly.
I don't think that this lady will be coming out today and speaking about this thing openly if it were nothing. It was just a business meeting or something. So I sincerely believe that there is more to it than we all know. And once we also know that the potential of sexual violations are there, we just have to take it as it is and caution people. Now the question is that, okay, fine, assuming but not admitting that everything the lady is saying, maybe they are mere allegations, no, that we don't have any shred of proof of what she's saying. What are the laws or the bylaws, the rules and regulations, put in place by the organizers to prevent sexual harassment? Do they have them?
Exactly.
If they don't, clearly then it means that they cannot say that we don't have them, but we don't intend to sexually harass anyone.
But how many people have it? How many organizations in this country
exactly
have it?
So it tells you how, not backward, or how will I even put it, how
but at least multimedia does, so I can
you
say
do?
for a fact, yes, we do.
Oh, okay.
We do.
That sounds really great.
Yes, we do.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We get educated on it all the time.
Oh, and I think that is exactly what must happen everywhere, in every organization, particularly organizations that have the potential. We all know that beauty pageants are such that, like you rightly said, people mostly are exposing themselves and so on and so forth. So you need to put in place rules of engagement that prevents others from violating them, not rather encouraging these girls to be violated.
Okay. But at this point, we are still yet to hear from the organizers though. But what do you think they should be doing in the face of these allegations? Well,
I think that organizers should be able to come out clean on this matter. They should be able to let the world know their position on this matter. They should let the world know that even though they would always advise beauty pageants, the beauty queens to be nice, sweet and pleasant and acceptable and all that, they do not mean that they should be sexually violated. They should come out to say that based on these allegations, they have gone ahead to put in place these structures, these rules, these modalities to make sure that in the future females who go through this pageant are not abused sexually. I think that would be more positive than simply being quiet about it.
But won't it have a negative impact on the organization of this beauty pageant?
Well, you cannot eliminate the possibility of negative impact. As for that one, you can't eliminate it. This is a beauty queen coming out to speak, about these things. And I don't think that, that's why I kept saying that if you were just the face value of what she said, I don't think she will come out to even talk about it. There is something more to it than that. And I think we all just have to watch it. Because the possibility of violating people sexually under those circumstances is very high.
But it looks like it wasn't just sexual allegations that were made also. There were allegations of asking these beauty queens to raise 10,000, sometimes in dollars and in cedis, to also fund their own trip to the Miss World pageant and all that. And we are told some of them were containing their documentations. It wasn't just verbal.
Well, for those ones, there are clear cases of, breach of contract.
Okay.
So I think that those ones, what they probably would want to do would be to seek the assistance of lawyers.
It doesn't amount to exploitation also?
Well, it is exploitation.
To raise such amount every month?
Exactly. See, it is an exploitation. But to what extent? To the extent that the original contract they had with, the organizers was breached. So under those circumstances, what would be the remedy? See a lawyer so that, you know, these organizers could be sued. And I think that they can get some very good compensation, you know, against organizers to serve as a deterrence to, you know, future violations.
Okay. Well, Francis, please stay with me in the studios. Let's head to the phone lines now. I understand we've been joined on the phone by Ifwa Asantuofusu. She placed second in Miss Tourism 2014. She joins us on the line to give us more information on beauty pageants in Ghana. Ifwa, good afternoon, and thank you very much for your time here on the Pulse. So give us a sense of understanding as to what you beauty queens go through in such pageants.
It's so disheartening that this thing is coming out just now, but it's been going on for a while now. And I wouldn't only blame the ladies, I would blame the sponsors too. In as much as they want the fame and everything, the sponsors also demand for ladies before they sponsor the pageant. But talking about the crown, it becomes a challenge when the organizers realize that they need a particular lady to fetch them money. And knowing the person isn't capable or doesn't have the qualities, they intend giving them out to big guys to provide them whatever they need. So in place of whatever the money or anything, they just take the ladies there.
So in your case, for instance, I wouldn't want to reduce it to you per se, but I'm sure that you've been interacting with other beauty queens. You were also part of a pageant. Did your organizers at any point tell you in particular, or your friends, that this sponsor wants you before they sponsor the beauty pageant?
Okay, in my case, it wasn't about sponsoring the show, but when you are done, there are big guys who come over requesting for the girls and stuff like that. And I have friends who have experience in well-known pageants here in Ghana. It's either you sleep with them, else you won't be part of the finalists, or you wouldn't be able to win.
Really? So
yeah.
What then happens? So if you don't give in to them, you will not get to the top 5. You don't make it.
Yeah, you don't make it. If you don't give in, you don't make it. And if you are still in running for the crown, it's either you be part of the final 5, or maybe you get a second. If you're extremely good, you get maybe the 3rd position or 2nd position, but to win, forget it.
And then it brings us to the question as to if someone is a beauty queen, should we believe that they actually won it on merit, or they actually gave something to get it?
Because now most people don't respect beauty queens because of these things. And it's so sad. If you really follow pageantry here in Ghana, you realize that those who normally win don't even do anything. I mean, they don't have any knowledge. They just don't do anything. You realize that those who play 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th are on their toes, working so hard, making social impact. So it tells it all. And it's just so sad that people don't respect us anymore. When you go out looking for sponsorship, I mean, they just rub it on your face, meet me here, come spend a night. And it's just so sad. Because they feel that it's what we do. So they don't see why. And they just throw it at your face. I mean, meet me here, meet me at this hotel, and you are good to go. I will sponsor your project. And that is a big insult. That is indeed a big insult.
So you just become escorts to them by virtue of being in a beauty pageant?
Yeah, but I blame the ladies as well, because I don't know why you should trade your pride, your dignity for just a crown. Just because an organizer will tell you she's going to take you for an international pageant, and we don't even place. And now what saddens my heart is that this thing is going to go so far that if anybody should represent Ghana outside, it's just going to be shameful, because they will know what is happening here in Ghana, and there's no way we are going to place. Already we are struggling, and now this is out.
If you were 2nd runner-up, did you give anything to get to that position?
Yes, I had an experience because the organizer was a woman. But when the organizer is a woman, you have guys around. And those guys come out trying to tell you they're going to help you to win, send me naked pictures. And I'm like, really? You want me to send you naked pictures just to win a crown? It's terrible.
So you didn't give anything?
Never. At a point, they wanted to take my crown because I was too outspoken. I was fighting them, and I'm like, if you're going to take my crown, I'm also going to expose whatever you told me to do. And he was like, then it's okay, cool.
So how about the judges, for instance? So apart from the organizers, the sponsors, the judges also, we've heard in the past that if you don't sleep with a judge...
If they have favorites, of course. It's everywhere. If they have favorites, they are good to go.
Favorites because they've had some sexual,
And before this finals come on, they have the opportunity to meet the girls during rehearsals, before the final events. They talk with them, they come around. So if they, for instance, if they spot me and he wants me, he can just private me or send someone to come for my number. If you want to win this pageant, you know I'm how should I put it? I'm the judge and I'm going to help you. My vote will count. So me do this, and then they do it.
So with all these experiences, why do we still get more and more women entering these pageants?
The pageant, I think, it's a very good platform for us young ladies. Yesterday, I nearly cried when this thing came out because it gives us the opportunity to get empowered. Okay? You get trained, you learn a lot. But with this kind of things coming on board, I don't know. I really don't know. And it's so sad that those who are involved are very young green girls who are just growing up, who are just out of school. They want to become famous. They want to become celebrities. I don't know. You even win and you don't get your car.
Wow. So what would you advise these queens who have gone through this? What would you advise them to do?
For now, I think we just have to hold pageantry for now because it's going on, I would say, not 100%, but it's going on in most pageants.
Okay.
And the young girls are victims, especially when someone tells you she's going to help you go for an international pageant. I'll get you a visa. You are going to China. You are going to Philippines, but you just have to come and spend the night. And she thinks you'll get opportunity to travel. I just have to put beauty pageants on hold for now.
We should. Ifwa, thank you very much. Ifwa Santua Fosu is the second runner-up in Miss Tourism 2014. Francis, I'm saddened.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sad, and it's a big shame. You know, it's a very big shame for this country that we will be this, immoral, for want of any better words, because I don't think that no matter how much sexually active we are as a people, we should allow that to get into the way of our professionalism, at the very least. No matter how sexually attracted you are to people, how do you transport that into your professional life to the extent that other people's life and other people's future are dependent on how much you violate them sexually, and it's really sad. And I think I support the call that this is a time. I think so. Yeah, no, I think so.
Really?
No, I think so that we probably need either a parliamentary probe into this whole issues of beauty pageants, or a ministerial probe into the beauty pageants in Ghana, and let's create a platform to have all these beauty pageants have an opportunity to come and speak freely, not being, in fear or not being afraid of being victimized by people or some associates and so on and so forth, so that we can get, everyone speaking about this, so that the society can really reshape the whole issue of beauty pageant, because it's a great opportunity for people to be exposed, great opportunity for people to learn, great opportunity for people to develop their future careers. But it can also be, a place of doom for many young girls, particularly those who are so naive and they go into it without, knowing all the nuances, just to get there and be locked into something they never bargained for.
Okay.